Best known as the flamboyant trumpeter and musical director for the legendary Tonight Show on NBC, Doc Severinsen is one of the great musicians of our time. He's about to embark on a tour with members of the original Tonight Show Orchestra, still one of the best bands in the land, and we're happy to welcome Doc over to CBS. It's great to see you, my friend, and thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you, Tom. By the way, I saw a Sybil bus outside. It's got a great pair of headlights. A little something for all the guys.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. It's just, since she won't come here now, but it's okay. I want to take you back to Winnipeg, young man. About 20 years ago, you're up there playing with the symphony orchestra. You like to go to a restaurant called Ling Nan, as I recall, and have some food.
How did you know about this?
Well, I know about these things. And one night, you're introducing the members of the orchestra to the audience, and a lady stands up in row 5, and she says, you know, if we wanted conversation, we would have come for conversation. We came to hear you play. Stop talking. You pick it up from there.
Well, that comes from,
you remember that?
That comes from a particular time in my life when my memory is sort of blotted out a little bit there.
I was told that you said, I'm just introducing the members of my band, and then you asked the lady, what would you like me to play? And she told you, and you played it for her.
Well, that's a gentlemanly thing to do, for heaven's sakes. I'll tell you what I have had happen is up in Vegas, you know, practicing in the room before I got down to do this show, and I heard an angry knock on the door, and I whipped the door open because I was kind of TO'd myself, and the guy says, oh, it's you. Well, that's okay. I said, well, maybe it's not so okay. What's the difference? I said, you coming to the show? I said, yeah. I said, what's your favorite tune? And he said, I can't get started. I said, I'm playing it for you tonight. I had it in the program for the last 10 years, for heaven's sakes.
I want to take you back to Arlington, Oregon. Your dad's the dentist there. You're a little Doc, and when you're a kid, you don't want to so much play the trumpet as you want to play the violin. Huh?
Well, no, actually, my dad wanted me to play the violin, and he used to make me sit in the high chair every day if I didn't practice. You can either sit in the high chair for an hour, or you can practice the violin, one of the two. And I sat there, and after about a week, and I was getting blisters on my bottom, he says, all right, what do you want to play? And I said, I want to play a trombone just like the one that Wilbur Fletcher has. Wilbur Fletcher played in the town band, and Wilbur played badly, too, by the way.
But he was one of your heroes then.
Yeah, he was my definite hero. Yeah, and my dad said, well, you're too small, you can't reach the slide positions. But I think Herb Clark down at the Shell service station has got a trumpet up in his attic. Let's go see if Herb's got it. Herb got it out, shined it up, sold it to my dad for $30. And Herb was a mechanic at the garage. He tore off a piece of paper sack, and he scored the C scale for the trumpet and put the fingerings in. The grease marks all over, handed this to us, and a week later I made my first public appearance.
Playing?
As a mechanic.
Oh, as a mechanic.
Yes.
Playing the carburetor, yeah. By the time you're 13, you have your own band, which is called the Blue Notes. How do you put together a band when you're 12 and 13 years old?
Well,
I mean, did a lot of kids play? Did a lot of kids have instruments?
No, that's why. But there was only a few of us, so we had no competition. And we used to play for country dances, you know, the Grange Halls,
sure,
the farmers' organization. Sure. We used to play at all different ones around in eastern Oregon, and it was a little band called the Blue Notes, and we did very well with it. And I think things like that, those kinds of experiences, serve you well later in life.
And then you started the tour when you were still in high school.
Oh, yes. When I was a senior in high school, I left my class and went on tour with a big band traveling around the country. And
which one?
Well, it was a band named Ted Fiorito.
Oh, sure.
Well, a lot of people might not remember Ted, but he was a very famous songwriter and had a very good band besides. And you know who my legal guardian was on the band? I couldn't go if I didn't have a legal guardian.
Yeah.
Candy Candido, the guy that used to do I'm Feeling Mighty Low.
Oh, yeah, right.
On the Jimmy Durante show. Yeah. And I won't tell anything more about my experiences with Candy, because Candy is still alive.
Yeah, oh, maybe that belongs in the bottom half of the show, inside organized crime. No.
You got it. You don't know how right you are.
Let me ask you here about some other names that you might have crossed in real life. Benny Goodman.
Benny Goodman, I played with him at various times back around New York, and he was a wild character. I mean, Well, Benny was basically insane.
Yeah, like you're carefully grounded yourself, aren't you? Yeah.
Well, if I realized he was insane, you can figure out how far out he really was. But I mean, he was not going to harm himself or anybody else. It was one of those things. So they said, well, let him lead a big band. That'll keep him busy.
Yeah, but how was he insane? What did he do?
Well, for instance, after many years of marriage, he'd introduce his wife. Hey, this is my wife, Pops. If he couldn't remember your name, he'd call you Pops. So he couldn't remember his wife's name. He introduced, my wife, Pops.
I don't have a problem with that.
Well, you're not married anymore either, are you?
Now you want to get into that, or? I told you before, one of the legendary moments on the Tonight Show. I have the retrospective, you know, of the 30 years with all you guys, you and Johnny and Ed. The night that you and he were talking about Thanksgiving dinner, and I guess you and your wife had just divorced or something. It was hysterical. It was
well,
just
it was at a down period of my life, and we were just sitting there talking, you know. We had no script to go by, you know how that goes. And it was Thanksgiving, and one word led to another. And
well, it started with having the bird stuffed, as I recall.
Yes, but
she
Johnny
liked her bird stuffed different from the way you wanted yours stuffed.
Yes, with money. And Johnny was a master to work with. I mean, he could lead you along and make everything come out perfectly.
Yeah. Do you miss him on television?
I miss him on television, and I miss him personally. You know, I think, you know, people say, do you miss doing the Tonight Show? And I think the thing that I miss most is that time when you strike up the theme song and curtain parts, and out comes Mr. Carson. And I miss that.
Let me ask you about a night in Washington when Mr. Carson was being honored at the Lincoln Center. And they had the University of Nebraska Marching Band, and you walked out and played Johnny's theme song.
Well, he wasn't expecting to see me
but
there.
I saw you that night, and I don't think you've ever played with more feeling and more love and more passion in your life.
Well, I tell you, I have a great deal of love and respect for that gentleman. And the one word that describes Johnny Carson is class. He had tons of it. And I think he's sorely
Don't you
missed.
wonder, though, after, and you're not here to talk about Johnny Carson, forgive me for doing this, but this is, wouldn't you think that after 30 years, it would be nice if he'd just come back, either with Leno or with Dave or here or somewhere, and just let us know how he's doing. I mean, he was our pal. You know, he took us through a lot of stuff. Vietnam, Chicago, Kent State, Watergate. He took us through an enormous period of American history. And we'd all kind of like to know how he's doing.
I'm not sure Johnny realizes how much he's missed on a personal level by people who watch television. I don't expect to see him come back right away, but, you know, who knows?
Well, I'd rather
happen.
see him than O.J., I can tell you this right now. Let me take a pause here for the commercials. We're talking with Doc Severinsen. You know the number at 800-952-2788. But contractually, I have to repeat this number. We'll be right back after these messages.
It's color printing, and it's state-of-the-art. It's flyers. It's proposals. It's Crayola and Hallmark Connection software. And putting your very own logo on a t-shirt. So it's not business as usual. It's what you can do with a new Canon Color Bubble Jet printer. Canon, what can you do?
There's no rules.
Whatever you can find or scrounge up, race it.
You can put things in the wheels, you can have water balloons.
So unsportsmanlike conduct is encouraged, I think.
Encouraged and well appreciated amongst all the other racers.
Oh, God! Oh, it's a crash! I'd have to say I'd consider soapbox racing most like Twister. You just gotta bend yourself all around.
That's like a safety routine right there. That's like a safety check.
If you get dumped at 40 miles per hour, they'll keep the skin on your legs.
I had to abandon ship.
What you don't know about bombs
There's explosives in here?
Yes, there is.
could blow you away. It's not just terrorists behind these deadly bombings. It's kids with computers and angry husbands out for revenge.
I was always afraid that he was going to harm me.
Don't miss an all-new 48 Hours, Thursday.
How you doing, folks? This here's a holdup.
A Texas rampage.
We're hot, honey.
Blamed by the media.
This is show business.
Can Chuck Norris stop two natural-born killers Saturday?
I lift the hood, there's flames coming out of my car.
Flames are not good.
I'm driving down the Jersey Turnpike, right? I plow through a puddle, bam, the lights go out. I gotta travel 75 miles holding my flashlight out the window like this.
Doc, this one. I'm on the Merritt Parkway, right? All of a sudden, I see a wheel passing me by, and I'm thinking, some idiot lost his wheel, right? Then I realized the idiot is me.
Right.
How about you, Charlie? Doesn't anything bad ever happen to you?
Well,
Are you kidding? Charlie drives an Accord.
The Accord from your Honda dealer.
American's Caribbean. There are hundreds of ways to enjoy our easy islands. We can take you to more of the Caribbean than anyone. Very attractive. That's what you'll think of our affordable flyaway vacation packages. So when can we expect you? In American's Caribbean.
Something special.
Oh, yes.
In the air.
The preceding arguments for sliding doors on both sides were brought to you courtesy of the new Dodge Caravan. Just as original as the original.